Welcome to the next episode. What episode is this?
Fourth
Episode of quite possibly, or arguably, the best crafting pod you have ever listened to.
Doubtful.
My name is Ed Bossart, and me and two friends decided we wanted to do a pod to talk about crafting and what we've been doing. And those two friends, and maybe some guests in the future, are here to help fill your brain with that kind of stuff. So first of all, over here, I'm in Maine. Over in California, western side of the U.S., we got Mr. Shawn Hoffman. How you doing?
West Coast, best coast. I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad we made this work and we can talk about all of our hobnob hobbies and crafting stuff, man. I'm excited to be here.
Nice. And then across the pond to the east, in the UK, we have Mr. Christopher Hall.
All right, how we doing?
We're good. We are here. We're finally here. We've been trying to get this together for a while now, and it's probably primarily me.
That's my newest hobby, is trying to schedule this podcast.
Yeah.
It's an art. But yeah, we're finally here. We're ready to talk, catch up on what we've been doing, and then maybe we picked a topic where we can be informative or learning about something in this crafting world that we can discuss and maybe teach you guys, the listeners, you guy, girl, one of you,
yeah,
the one listener, something new. So we'll start. We'll go around the horn. What we've been doing lately, crafting. Shawn, what you been doing?
Since we're just a couple of weeks away from the Christmas holiday and all that fun stuff for us, I've been swamped with just kind of like seasonal items. Like I've been dabbling a little bit with my models that have not progressed like I was hoping, but I've been doing a lot of other oddball things. Like there's always a lot of laser cutter projects this time of year. It seems like not really for myself, but usually it's gifts or people making requests. Like a classic one that really seems to come up anymore. For the short version is living here in the mountains, like we're able to cut down our own Christmas trees. It helps thin the forest for wildfires. And so after each Christmas, we'll take our tree and we'll cut like the bottom of the trunk off. Sorry, Chris, is talking about trees like triggering or at all?
Oh,
That's all good, mate.
I should have thought
good.
I thought
we'll do a
that
background on what happened there in a minute. But yeah.
But we'll cut the bottoms off and we'll make these like little tree slices that I can make into ornaments.
Nice.
And then people always like, oh, can you make laser cut some, like, my mom's like really into like woodlands, rustic stuff. She's like, oh, put these like engrave this like bear or like this moose with these like artistic deer and drill a hole in it, like make an ornament. So for my rustic head tree. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've also been working on a project for Madison for a Christmas present. She's got like a tons of jewelry-ish kind of things, like lots of like little earrings and things like that, but we don't like regular like jewelry boxes, like the stand or the box and opened up and everything's swinging around. So I've been like trying to come up with something on like the laser cutter for like how to like, so right now they're just like in bags so you can't see anything. So I'm like, oh, how can she present them? So I've been like working on this is a like chipboard mock-up of like, it's like a honeycomb shape and there's like little holes and stuff and it's kind of artsy looking. There's like little bumps you can like hang necklaces on, little holes you can put earrings through, and like this is like the V1, it kind of hangs.
Nice.
So I've been working on stuff like this and like trying to come up with Christmas present ideas.
Looks like someone took like a hexagon map from like some mini wargaming game and just, like, turned it into a jewelry.
It's like Settlers of Settlers of Catan board.
Yes, yeah. There you go.
But it's got little holes and little knobs and stuff on it to hang stuff and poke things through, but it's gonna be cut out of wood and made all fancy and bohemian or whatever the style is. Maybe get some inks, some colored inks on there. Maybe do like a watercolor, make it fun and bright. And I don't know. We'll see how much. I got 2 weeks. I don't have a lot of time left, so we'll see what gets trimmed off of the V1.
You're so brave going outside of acrylics, man. I get scared going
I mean,
outside of acrylics.
it'll probably be acrylic. I'll probably just like dilute.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I probably don't know what I'll do. I'll see what absorbs into the wood that I currently have.
That's the problem. Don't use expensive shit because
oh no,
wood
yeah.
absorbs paint a lot.
When it's all the stuff I'm going to be cutting on is like probably 1/8 of an inch, so it's like it'll warp if it gets too wet. So I got to like play that whole game. All right,
Will the primer take to it? Can you prime it and then?
I could prime it. I could add to like an oil-based primer from some of the stuff,
Yeah.
so that way it like seals it. But what I'm hoping to do in my head, I'm hoping I can keep the wood look, like the wood grain, and then do like a thinned, almost like watercolor kind of splotches through it before
nice.
before cutting and engraving it. So it's kind of like splashes of color on wood, kind of like a wash.
Maybe. Oh, what kind of colors you think? Something that lets the jewelry stand out.
Dude, I have no idea. That's like a thing in my head.
That's a Christopher question. I think Chris might know what you want to do for a background to let jewelry shine up front.
That's a good
Sean,
point.
do whatever you want me.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'm gonna do whatever the hell works the first time because I got a week and a half, and then we'll figure out from there. But other than that, dude, I've also been all these last ones quickly. So obviously wood ornaments, that thing. I've started making. Are you familiar with needle felting? Do you know what that means when I'm talking about that? You know those like little Christmas ornaments that you see all over the place. That's kind of like a wool ball. It's like little animals or whatever made out of like wool. You know what I'm talking about?
Yarn? No,
It
like
kind of reminds. It's. I'm trying to think of what would be. Like it's like it's. This
Is it
like
really wool or is it like?
It's like
something
stuff like
like
this, where it's like that. Like it kind of looks like that look.
Okay.
Where it's
Okay.
it's kind of like a little
Like a little
woolen-
stuffy thing.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like a weird texture. That's felt, but it's called needle felting, where you take wool and you just stab it 1.5 million times, and it makes it into like a ball and shapes and stuff. I've been working on making like dogs, like little dogs. Like here's a frame for one, so you can bend the legs, you put wool around it, you stab it, and you make like little animals. Working on making that as a gift for somebody. Yeah, dude, that's been my craft. It's like all like seasonal holiday stuff. We can do. I've also make Christmas candy. I make a lot of candy there, but we'll talk about that in a just.
Whoa, what? You fucking make candy?
Yeah,
You need to chill out, mate. You do.
Dude.
yeah. I
Making
make.
this-
Maybe
not
you, I
bad
think you
over here.
do need a lathe in your house.
No, I do not need
Yeah.
a lathe.
Definitely need a lathe.
I do not need a lathe.
We were talking about this before the podcast. I was like, I wouldn't put it past you if you were like, I got a lathe and it's in my bedroom or something.
If I had
Yeah.
if I had a garage where I could put a lathe, like I would consider it. Like I'm also not looking to get like wrap myself around a lathe in my own home. I'd rather do that somewhere publicly, like where other people can know how to stop the machine, because it'd be me spinning around a lathe and then Madison inside with her headphones on, listening to music for like 4.5 hours until she comes out and finds me in the garage dancing with the machine. And it's like, yeah, I don't need a lathe. That's a poor decision. But no, I do make I make candy,
people-
yeah. And so we'll talk about that on another time when we have more segment. But yeah, I make like caramels, hard candy, toffee, peanut butter, shit like that.
Not to do a side thing, but like that's been me with the 3D printer. Like I've had a lot of people be like, you should get a 3D printer. I'm like, that just opens up a lot of doors I don't have time for. Like I don't want to have that option right now.
As somebody
Maybe
with
in
a
the
3D
future.
printer, it's like, cool, I have the capability now. Then it's like you suddenly realize how bad you are at 3D modeling. It's like, I know what I want. And it's like, oh shit, there's like a very deep skill tree that I am not far into that would really help and benefit. And
But
then-
like, if is it? But you could just grab STL files from like the internet and just like print shit, right?
yeah, if I'm looking
Or
to
is
do
it
like,
more than
like
that?
like that turtle that we talked about early on, like he's 3D printed.
Yeah.
Like I got him. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to do stuff like that, but like if you want to try to I guess I'm saying if you want to try to justify your purchase beyond just printing models and painting them until you have a pile of models everywhere in your home. Like if you want to be like, oh, I can make this thing to store, I don't know, whatever it is you use to convince your
Like-
partner that you need a 3D printer. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I could make something for that.
Yeah, like
Those
I lost my toothpaste cap. I need to make another one. Like that's
Yeah.
hard. I bet that's really hard.
Oh, allow me to pull up this jewelry holder again and how I justify owning a laser cutter.
I like
It's-
that. I like that.
Yeah, it's like, but 3D, I can do 2D vector graphics all day long, but once it gets into like, dang, I'd really like to learn how to 3D model for a 3D printer. It's like, man, I don't have time with all the other crap I'm juggling to.
That's it.
Fuck
It's
no.
time, man. Crafting takes time.
Yes,
Crafting
it
takes
does.
time. Anyway, anything else, Sean?
No, that's it. That's all I got. And shovel in the driveway. We got snow. I'm doing that.
Any more piles of shame added?
I showed you my office before
I know,
we recorded. the whole room is one giant pile of shame at this point. Like it is. It's everywhere. Like I have pictures that need to be framed. I have stuff that's got to be returned from recalls on Amazon because it's a fire hazard. I got presents to wrap. I got things to build. Oh my God. It's all right. See you next week. Gotta go.
I know, right? It builds up. I can go next, Chris, because I know I'm on our Scruffy Look podcast. You go last, and I think you like it.
Okay.
But do you want to go last? You can go next if you want.
I don't mind, mate. You go. I want to hear
Okay.
all about this Rancor, mate, that you've been painting.
Oh,
so
this-
you go.
Yeah. I've been painting it. I have not been painting the fabled Rancor. The mythical.
Is he at least
Rancor.
cleaned? Has he been primed? Have you cleaned him? Has it,
Shame.
It's primed.
Shame.
Yes.
Shame.
It's definite shame. It's primed. It's zenithal highlighted. It's here, and the paint's even chipping because it's been just sitting there, and I've been moving around. So
touching
I
it with
need-
your
I need-
greasy
I need-
fingers?
Yeah, I need to patch up some of the primer, but it's there. I will say I have painted, because this is to the game, the tabletop game, cooperative game called Imperial Assault by Fantasy Flight. They don't actually support it anymore, Imperial Assault, but it's still a very popular game. And I got recently, as I think I mentioned before, the Jabba's Realm expansion, and this Rancor came in it, and with a bunch of other miniatures and heroes. So recently, I had another session of Imperial Assault, and I painted some miniatures, but not the Rancor. I'm saving it. It's the big finale. It's the big finale, Chris. So
I think he's scared, Sean. What do you think?
I think he is too. And
I'm
what's like,
definitely scared. Hey, I'm not gonna admit it. I'm scared. I'm scared.
it's like, bro,
Although-
he's brown. What are you so afraid of?
You're right. It's not going to be super hard to paint because I find painting natural like creatures and stuff is a little easier because you can make mistakes and it just looks natural. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas like on a nice clean vehicle or something like that, you make a mistake, like you got to patch that shit up because it's not going to look right unless you turn it into like blaster damage or some shit, like a dent in the metal or something like that.
Always.
Yeah. So and then I got 3 more heroes that came with it. A Ponda Baba race. What is that? Aqualish? A really buff Aqualish. And then
Dr.
a
Dr. Evazan, you got cameos city over here.
Yeah, people love that cameo. By the way. Anyway,
I do.
Mandalorian chick. She's gonna be fun to paint. It's gonna be like a blue silvery, like kind of like Django. and then a Rhodian hero with 2 blaster pistols, 1 in each hand, shooting away. So that'll be fun to play paint. And then I have this Thrawn that Jimmy gave me that he wants me to acid wash. So I might just throw it in a vat of acid and let it melt.
Man, acetone will
And then
do
give
wonders
it
on
some-
that.
Yeah. So that's on my list. And then I got some Warhammer pile of shame building up beyond that. The thing I got in the UK recently, visiting Kev and Chris, Magnus the Red. This is going to be a paintbrushing challenge, I will say, because the wings
Yes.
are multicolored.
You got that quite cheap as well, didn't you?
I did. 'Cause-
Compared to what it would cost you over there, yeah?
Oh yeah, like I paid 2/3 of what it would be here, probably.
Oh, no.
For those who
87.
For those who don't know, that what he's holding up looks like it's a Warhammer miniature. It's not a mini. It's looks massive. It looks like a mixture of like Mercy from Overwatch and Goldar from Power Rangers, like some massive winged creature.
Yes, he's Magnus the Red. He is the Primarch, Demon Primarch, so he's a Chaos bad guy-ish, of the Thousand Sons. And their primary colors are pretty wild, from teal to pink to gold. We got some fun-ass colors going on there. So that's the big one. And then I got a couple other... Here we are. I got a Custodes, which is gold. The gold, like, better than Space Marine, if anyone knows Warhammer 40K. Shield Captain, I think I mentioned that last time, though. That's on my list. And then this one is the most recent one that I just get. So if you subscribe to Warhammer Plus TV, you get a free miniature every year.
I bet you do.
So this is the commemorative series. It's an Astra Militarum Unbroken. And he's like, I'm sure there's some lore behind this, but I don't know.
Dude, you do not need a 3D printer. What are you talking about?
I know, right? I just keep getting shit. Oh my god. And I'll just add that next to the 5 Bandai things I have down here. Other than that, things I've done, like I said, I did some Imperial Assault guys. I painted some weak ways. Those pirate dudes, henchmen of Jabba. And these are, I speed painted these. So these, I was like, damn, I'm playing Imperial Assault in like 3 days. I got a fucking crank. So I painted 4 jetpack stormtroopers. I sent this picture to you guys in Discord in the just Craftin section. You can zoom in on it if you want. But it was 4 jetpack troopers, 3 or 4 weak waves, and 4 Gamorrean guards. The Gamorrean guards were fun. I like painting those dudes. Like I said, they're speed painted. I could go back in, add some highlights, make them a lot better. But,
so why don't you just pretend that you're going to play with the Rancor? And speed paint that?
I will say, in the game, it's like app based, and you put what expansions you have in it, and it can randomize what you encounter. I was like waiting for it to be like, and the Rancor comes out. I was like, fuck, I hope not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you have? You have to keep like unchecking that checkbox every time you play a game. You're like, take the Rancor out of the deck. Out.
Yeah, no. The Rancor luckily did not pop out on Hoth where we were. Well,
that would be appropriate because he's currently white, isn't he? So
that's true.
Yeah,
Rancor in a snowstorm.
Different Rancors around the universe.
With that Zenithal highlight, it looks like ET when he's dying, doesn't he? So
oh yeah.
He's looking dusty.
Other than that, I did paint something with my family. So we all got together. We got this sign that says like "Welcome Home." It's made out of wood, but the O in home can be replaced with magnets by different shapes that correspond to whatever you're feeling to put on it, aka whatever season it is. So you get like an autumn leaf, you get a snowflake, you get Christmas tree, I think, football for football season. And they gave me clover. That's what you call it, right? Like
a 4-leaf clover, yeah.
It's a 3-leaf, but it's for St. Patrick's Day. And I tried painting it. I was like, I got this. Because I can paint anything. And then I started painting like fucking leaves. Leaves are a bitch to figure out what kind of lighting. Because they're super curved. They got dents throughout, like a line through the middle of the leaf. And then you got to shade that. And then you got highlights depending on where your light's coming from. And I don't know. I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't... I feel like I need to fix things.
I really want to see your leaf compared to the other ones that were painted. That's what I want to see.
Well, yeah, like they're...
Oh, the lighting's not right on my leaf. And everybody's hearing you talk about this, and then there's like an egg. Like it's like one color. Like I want to... Like, what are we talking about here?
I will say, each one of my family, I have 2 daughters. and a wife, obviously. And we each were to paint 2 things. And I only painted 1 because I was spending way too much time redoing and fixing this fucking leaf. God damn, I'm still not happy with it. But anyway,
We found a trend.
if this happens to you, and I keep telling myself, it's a learning experience, you build on it. Next time you get through it, maybe it'll be better. Hopefully. But,
Progress, not perfection.
yeah. When I first got into painting, I didn't realize how much light had to do with things, because I went ignorant through this. Chris obviously grew up doing this shit. But, like, now I look at things out in the world and I'm like, oh, like looking at how light interacts with objects. And it's a whole new way to look at life. It's cool.
Do you ever annoy your partner with that? Like when you're out in public and you're like, you see that? You see the way the sediment, on that boat over there just kind of runs down a straight line. They're like, please stop. I really am tired of looking at the dirt on boats.
Yeah,
and the
been
lighting.
Nighttime. It's been nighttime. I'm like, look how the light reflects off the windshield of that car. Like, oh my, and it's like all those things. You don't think about it. Your brain just looks at it and moves on. But like when you're an artist and you have to paint this kind of stuff, you're like eagerly looking at it and learning all the time. I think, personally. But anyway, so that's me. That's me catching up. I don't think I missed anything. I probably missed something. I always miss something. But yeah. Oh, I purchased a vibrator.
Come again?
What? A vibrating thing for old paints to like
a paint mixer.
Paint mixer, yeah. So you put some on it. It's a vibrator.
It's an audio medium, Ed. It's an audio medium.
Well, anyway, it's a thing. It's got like a bulb on top that you just put your paint on.
Yeah.
And
your paint or your taint.
Just churning butter over here.
And it vibrates and gives you pleasure while it mixes your paint.
1 star. These idiots don't know anything.
Yeah, there it is. And hopefully you have a ball bearing to put in your paint jar or in your paint vials, whatever they are called, and that helps mix it up.
Don't neglect the ball bearings.
Oh, final update. I ordered a base set of Pro Acryl paints.
Nice.
So it comes with like 26 paints. I'm super excited for it. Supposedly they're really good. I'm really excited to paint with it and see how that feels, because I've been using really old Vallejos and Army paints. So Army painter paints.
So what's the special thing about these? Are they just regular paints? Are they speed paints? Are they
regular? They are regular paints. Yes. Yeah. Chris
look at
already
this.
has them.
Look at
What do you
this.
think of them, Chris?
I've not used them yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm just checking. All right. Well,
Yeah.
when you do, please let me know.
Yeah, he's a crafter now.
Yes, he is.
That
Doesn't
is
use-
the answer.
Yep. You buy shit and don't use it. What's
What's he think that product? It's like, well, I'm really waiting for the right waiting for the right project.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna throw out all my old paints because they're like 14 years old. Throw them out, replace them with these. I think I'll keep my metallics from word paints, and obviously this is not replacing my contrast paint, the speed paints. Yeah, I'm excited to use those. I'll use them on the Rancor. So there you go.
Nice. It
And,
better be the first damn thing you do paint with them.
It will. Maybe. It will
No.
be. Maybe it will
I don't
be.
believe
It won't be. So what made me remember this is because each Pro Acryl, or I think the set comes with glass ball bearing, not metal. I don't know if yours has them in there. They might just come in the set. And supposedly that helps, like, because metal can rust and shit, so it helps with the.
It can react with the pigment, depending on what color it is. It can react with the pigments,
Yes.
the things that are in like the mica and things like that. So glass is less reactive.
Yes. Yep. So I'm excited about that, even though I don't see it in action, but I'm so excited about it. Anyway, That's
even though my paint is going to dry out way before any of that shit happens.
right. Yeah. Like, why do I care about that? But it sounds cool. So I fell for that gimmick. Whatever. Okay. Moving on.
Glass is cheaper to make.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I can tell you that. Here's the other thing I'm working on. I can tell you that because I have a package full of ball bearings, like metal balls, because Madison wants me to make a postcard holder out of wood that uses ball bearings inside of it to put like at a restaurant, like a ticket thing where you put the tickets up and it sticks. You could pull it back out. It's like that, but for you hang, like it's nice and wood. You put like postcards in it.
Yeah, I have a giant box of ball bearings as well.
She signed me up for that project, so yeah. They're not
Yeah,
cheap.
because she was like, you don't have much going on, right? So here's a project you can do.
She's like, you got a lathe and a desk, like a giant router and all these things to make me this nice wood project, right? I'm like,
Got
cool.
a laser cutter, 3D printer, a giant lathe. Yeah, you're good.
She's like, I bought you the plans. It's like, thanks. I got the plans. I got nothing but excuses now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my week. Chris, any tips on painting the
Chris.
leaf? I'm going back to painting the leaf. Do I just look up
Yeah.
pictures and just learn from it? That pretty much the best thing I can do?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, that's all I do. Okay. That's what I thought.
You don't want my advice? You don't want to ask me?
Oh, Shawn, yeah, Shawn.
I think I think you walk away and work on something different. I think it looks fine. What are we doing? Looks good.
Oh, it's whatever. Okay. We'll
Seal
post
it, seal it, and call it a day.
We'll post the picture of it on our whatever we do. We posting shit? Are we? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah. When you send me the photo, I'll post it.
this podcast is great. This is great. It's gonna be great, guys. It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
All right, Chris, hit us up
Yes.
with your update.
Okay, so when you came over to visit, we went to a few different gaming shops. Is that what they're
Yes.
called?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. Gaming stores.
Element Games, wasn't it?
Oh, they're amazing.
Is it-
Great
Yeah.
prices for Warhammer, like better
So
than
good.
Warhammer stores prices.
Yeah, and loads of not just Warhammer products, loads of different products in there, loads of different paint brands. And I bought some paints, which I have yet to use. use.
I must have recommended them, right? Because I was like, Pro Acryl? Oh my god!
Yes, you did. So first of all, I bought some little miniatures. I was like, because we went to Warhammer World, didn't we? And I infinitely enjoyed it more than the first time we went because I understood more, I appreciated it more. I think I took like a couple of 100 photos in that museum.
As
And
you should. Yep.
I was just like buzzing, loving it, and the miniature vibe had obviously got me the week that you were here. So I bought some little miniatures, but I bought some like from an independent. Well, just 1 minute.
Talk amongst yourselves. There it is.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, so they're not Games Workshop or Warhammer. I bought these two little creatures from a company called Reaper Mini. Dark Heaven Bones, I think it's the game is called. I don't know. Bring all your Reaper miniatures to life for the Reaper Mini series. Yeah, cool. So I bought this dude that looks like fucking Bebop, who's like a big wild boar guy.
Whoa, nice.
And then I bought this like rat thing. And they're the only things that new things that I've had a go at painting. And it turns out, yeah, I'm not very good at painting miniatures. I don't really like
Yet.
it.
Although those look decent. I'm
They're,
just gonna
they're
say.
too small. Yeah, so I tried my speed paints on these. I was really
Yeah, yeah.
excited because I was like, last time you guys taught me all about zenithal highlighting, and I'm like, right, I'm going to do this. And then on the back of these, it was like, please note, spray primers are not recommended for bone miniatures, which are these. So I was like, oh, I can't prime them. So I just gave
It
them
might be
a coat.
because are they pre-primed? Is that why?
It said they were, but they were like a really crap colour. So I just gave them a base coat, like a white base coat, because I wanted to use my speed paints. And
It's
I
probably
got my skin.
It's probably the size and the level of detail in them. They probably
Yeah.
don't want you using rattle can primers because the particles are so thick in those that it'll get like globby and lose detail. Like
Yeah,
if you had
you'll
an
lose
airbrush,
detail.
they'll be like, yeah, you could prime that all day long.
Yeah,
But-
airbrush would work. I will say, Chris,
Yes.
that situation, you did the right thing, but you could think, you could dry brush the white primer, but only hit the miniature with downstrokes from above. So you don't hit the
Okay.
belows. You dry brush only from above, so it hits
Yeah.
the surfaces that need the light. So those will be the brighter, and then you throw the speed paint on top. Those things will pop, right, through the speed
Yeah.
paint, and then you highlight from there. Boom.
And
Sweet.
I'm glad you said what you said about miniatures and like not liking it and it's hard like it's too small, because to me that's I have the same experience. Like painting miniatures is like an exercise in like expectation management and skills tuning. Like I have shaky hands, so it's like it's all of like, how can I layer things so I can finally get the eyeball to be white, or like that's why I was talking about the order of operations things. It's like I can't draw a straight line. So what is the order of operations I can do to like make it look straight by like layering things or like doing stuff to make it good? Because I'm not good at painting that small. Like it's frustrating, but it makes me feel good that somebody's actually talented is saying the same thing I said. It's like, yes.
For something that's so small as well. Why do they take so fucking long? It takes forever.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far
will-
on these, I've been painting them both at the same time, and I've done the base coat, and I've done the speed paint, and then I started doing some dry brushing on this guy's fur, but I didn't like it. I need to do something with him. So they're not finished. I've got the next phase and bit of highlighting and shading and stuff to do. But that's them. And at the same time as buying them, I bought a bunch of paints, like Ed said. I was like, I'm going to try some different brands. Because I'd got the Army Painter speed paints, which I'd yet to use. That's the first thing I used them on. And I really enjoyed using them. But I bought some Vallejo. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Yeah. I just bought a bunch of grimy, rusty, dingy colours that I can use on my droids and stuff. And I also bought some oranges because I made some little pumpkins and stuff out of clay pre-Halloween. And obviously, this orange paint has not been opened. And the clay pumpkins are just sat looking like clay. It's not Halloween anymore, and we're actually
Season 2 Halloween, right?
That's the best part is there's always another Halloween to come up. You're doing it for next
we're
Halloween.
a week and a half away from Christmas, so yeah, that worked out well. So yeah, I've got a pile of paint shame that's yet to be opened. So I can't review the Pro Acryls, Ed.
Okay.
Just yet.
We can't talk. We can't call the paint, the tools and supplies. Those can't be shame. Those are the tools that we use to deal with our piles of shame. The shame is the unbuilt or half-built projects. That's the pumpkins. That's the shame pile. Paints. No, those are always an opportunity. If we call everything shame, then I'm never getting out of this pit. Because it's
okay. It's not paint shame.
The paint is always worth the money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the brushes, all the tools.
Because now you're just waiting for inspiration. You have everything you need. You don't have, if inspiration hits, you don't have to go to the store to get something. You're ready to go.
Yes.
I feel like this is a toxic mentality, but I'm here
sound
for
like we're shameful about the paints we bought?
it. Just enabling with Shawn, Ed, and Chris.
I love it. But yeah, my droids. So I've been doing those just like when I've had a spare hour and stuff in the evening. I've probably done about 3 or 4 sessions on them so far, and they're just not. Yeah, I don't know if I'll stick at it, and I'll get them to a point where, well, we're never satisfied, are we? I once learned that art is never finished; it's just abandoned. So when these get abandoned, they'll be done. probably at some point.
You throw them up on a
but
shelf and you look at them a couple months later and you're like, I see what I could have done differently here.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, as I've had the old spare hour and stuff in the evening, they've been getting a bit of work on them. I have picked up my droids again. It's a slow process, this is. Basically, I've had a big illustration project that I've been doing for most of November. And I had a stupid, like, massive deadline that was, like, from the summer to the end of November. So obviously I waited until November actually started to start the project. So
This is for your work, right?
no, it's for a separate separate thing. It's for pleasure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, been doing this big illustration thing, and that's wiped out a lot of crafting time. And I got that deadline right down to like almost an hour before it needed to be submitted. Obviously,
shit.
And all the pressure was on, but it was good. I'm happy. Submitted. We'll see where that goes. But yeah, I have done bits and bobs on the droids that I've been building. So they're slowly and surely, like, I just keep chipping away at them and grinding them up. And this one was really cool because he was like really bright green. And then I stuck a acid wash on him. And it's just, I don't know if I'm getting.
Yeah.
But no, I stuck a dark wash on him. And it's just too dark. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
It's they always say, like, the books and stuff, they're always like, you always want to paint them like a shade almost obnoxiously brighter than what you want, because it's not just I keep on acid washes. Thanks, Jimmy. It's like it's not just the washes that will darken them, but it's also the scale. Like, it's the way that it scales down. It will always appear darker than what.
Yeah, you almost because they're so small, you want to make it more cartoony, like bring out the highlights more than you would in, like, you know, a painting of a fucking landscape or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, you'll get there. It's that's a great base to start with, because then because you work up from that. You always do that. You work up with the greens and the whatever colors you're working with, and go lighter and lighter. And if you want to throw in some forced perspective lighting in there, you can do that and go even all the way up to white for reflections and shit.
Yeah, this guy's got a really cool, like, eye on the front of him that I think I'm gonna have a go with some of that forced perspective lighting on. But yeah, I'm gonna hit this with the dry brushes next and see what
that'll
happens.
make it. That's really gonna help.
Yeah,
that's really gonna help.
Hopefully it'll pop.
It's gonna bring out a lot of your edges and stuff like that.
Get in with the rusting and
he's
do all
bigger.
the fun stuff.
He's a little bigger than, like, general miniatures. So
he's much bigger, Ed.
Yeah.
Look look at the scale. This guy is fun to paint. This guy is not fun to paint.
Yeah, for context, he's like the size of a car air filter. Like, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So there's three. I've got 3 of them on the go at the minute. I've got this guy as well.
Yeah, I like that. That's neat.
And he was really bright blue, and now he's dingy and stuff. But I don't know. I'll stick at it. More layering, more weathering. We'll go.
Change your lighting. Take them out in the sun one day and be like, all right, you just got to mix it up.
That's a good idea.
Change your lighting every once in a while and be like, all right, maybe he's not so dark. I'm just sitting in a dungeon.
Yeah, well, we all are. I will say, I think I mentioned this on previous podcast, because I painted Warhammer Knights, or Chaos Knights, but they're big. And highlighting changes, I find, when you get a much bigger model. Like, I ended up because usually you highlight along the entire edge. And this, I was highlighting with a sponge dipped in a super bright silver. Like, I was just dabbing on the edge. So it's not like a line on the edge of his shoulder pad. It's random dabs of silver over a darker metal. And it was like, it worked pretty well, because
you're almost doing like a sponge chipping technique.
Yeah.
Then almost like an edge highlighting.
But it's like as a highlight. So it worked. So it's different when it gets a lot bigger, I will say.
when it's smaller, you could just do like the paintbrush edge highlighting because it's like more of a line, and you're just trying to draw out the edge.
Yeah.
When it's bigger, you can't just do the line. You got to use like a sponge or something because it's like a sword or like a shoulder pad. It's got texture, and so that sponge will make it like reflective, like the edge of the sword. It's not perfect. It's so the light's bouncing in different ways. It makes it look a little more realistic.
It's all about what your eye perceives. I mean, and that's shit you learn as you do it, and it's a lot. I don't know. I can't even say I'm like beyond beginner with it. But
And it's not even about looking realistic. It's about convincing the viewer that it looks real. That was the biggest thing for me.
right.
And like I think I learned it from doing dioramas. Like I took this master class one time, mainly because they gave away free product, and I went and like learned from this dude who does dioramas and stuff. And it's like, I think his key takeaway was, it's not about making it look 100% real. It's about just convincing whoever's looking at it that it looks real. Like, it's like, oh, like it's weird. It's weird to say, but like once you're thinking about it, it's like, it doesn't need to look exactly like a tree. They just need to think it does. Like, oh, well, shit. Like, that uses some perfection.
And I find as it's a smaller model, you have to force the lighting on the viewer. Otherwise, you lose detail. Because if it's too dark, you don't see shit. So you make things pop more is when stuff's tiny.
Anyways,
Sweet.
what else have you been working on, Chris?
I think that's about it. I've got
No woodworking, no wood projects.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of woodworking the past two weekends, yeah. So, for context, we had a big storm in the UK. Massive tree in my garden fell down through the roof of my conservatory. I think you guys call it a sunroom.
Whomping willow.
House. Yeah. So, we've been disposing of said tree. So, that's what Shawn's kindly referring to.
I'm excited to see what projects come out of that from various people, if I'm ever so lucky to find out. Like, it sounds like there's some cool stuff, maybe coming.
Yes, my dad's took lots and lots of wood off our hands, and that'll be getting made into bowls and all sorts on his lathe, and he's very excited. He was rubbing his hands together. Never mind the damage it's caused my house. My dad's like, oh, rubbing his hands on the grain. Oh, this is going to make a lovely bowl. This is like, yes, Dad.
Like, I've never seen my dad so happy in my life.
Yeah, but I've got a query for you guys. Some advice I need. I've got a quick project that I've got to pull together. So I've got a costume I've got to get ready for Friday. This coming Friday.
So 6 days.
Coming right up.
5.5, 6 days. Yeah.
5.5, 6 days. So every year at Christmas, the company I work for, the last day before we break up for Christmas, we have a big Christmas lunch, and we'll dress up in costume, what we call fancy dress over here, but I think you guys call costume, a bit like cosplay. Each department picks a different theme. I've been some totally rad things in the past. Last year we were vampires. The year before that, I can't remember, but I've done all sorts. This year, chosen said theme for my department is mythical creatures. Now, this has been a tough one to decide on, because time is a factor. So the first thing I started seeing the first thing I saw was the fawn from Pan's Labyrinth, and I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Dude,
yeah.
Side note, I looked for 3D printed miniatures. It's hard to find. But anyway.
Really? And then I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm not going to pull that costume together. Plus, I am not Doug Jones. I am more the size of Guillermo del Toro, so I'm not going to dress as Pan's Labyrinth. But I am actually going to be a fawn, a woodland fawn. I've done some Pinterest searches, and I'm going to be a fawn. And I've got these cool horns.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm going to wear. However, they've turned up, and they're jet black, and I want to make them bone coloured. So these are made of plastic, I do believe, but they're attached by ribbon to a headband. So talk to me, boys. How do I get these looking like actual bone?
So are you wearing anything else on your head, or is it just going to be just sitting on top?
This is going to sit on top, and I'm probably going to have some foliage, and I'd like to get a bit of moss on here as well.
Okay, so the headband part will be hidden, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hiddenish. Hiddenish, yeah.
Hiddenish, yeah. But it's more of this plastic stuff, like what primer's not going to take to this. So
It could. It depends on the primer.
yeah.
It could.
If you get some box store, like
Yes.
hardware store level, like stick to anything primer, that stuff will grip on literally anything. You could spray it. You don't need to sand it or anything like that, because it's really for one use.
Yeah.
So I would do like a white. Just get a white, any whatever the hell it's called over there, like the anything primers, and just like I would tape off the headband so it doesn't get weird, and then I would spray all the horns, and then I would do like a brown wash over the top once it's dry, and so like to bring in more of like that bone ivory color. But I would just save money and just do like completely straight white anything primer. And then water down a bunch of brown and yellow, or whatever,
or make your own wash because it's such a large surface. You could take brown acrylic, like a bone brown, water it down. There are mediums out there.
Yeah, just do cheap paint, cheap craft paint with water, like 90% water with 10% paint, water down, blast it, like just soak the thing in brown, then let it dry for like a minute, 30 seconds, then wipe it off with paper towel, let it dry, hit it with a hairdryer, do it with a slightly different color. Just keep doing that until it fills the cracks in and colors it. And
so it might be a little too runny. I would maybe try a dab of the paper towel, because the dab will just hit the surfaces. You don't want it fully there. Man, you want to get brown on it first, though, because you don't want it like completely white on the surfaces.
No, and that's why you just keep doing the washes, because it'll slowly tint it. And you can always put more wash on. You can't take it back off.
Right,
and that's why
just keep applying. You just would keep applying. Let me see it again. It's not too big. You could almost buy a contrast paint. I feel like you could, because I'm going to use this a lot with the Rancor coming up. Skeleton Horde is the contrast paint from Citadel.
So I've got I've got some bone colored speed paint.
Yeah, you could do that. You probably use half that bottle.
I was about to say, I would just use some cheap craft paint. I just get like
make a wash.
I just get like a cheap, like the dollar store, hobby fabric store, like craft paints, like the brown and like a yellow. Get them for like
make a really, really light colored brown from cheap paint. Now, put it over it first, over the white. Then do the multiple layers of washes. And that'll be the cheapest, because it's such a large surface. It'll be the cheapest way to do it. But it's kind of time consuming because you need to wait for the washes to dry, or use a hairdryer, right? Hairdryer is always, it's not cheating.
The dabbing helps pull it, like dry it a little too.
It's not cheating.
I have one right here. It's like part of my...
Once I've done all my washes and I'm like distressed it a bit, I'd like to get a little bit, because I'm going to put some filigree and fucking plant life in my hair and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to get like a bit of moss and stuff on.
Okay.
So
I like it.
What's the best? I know how to create the moss. It's just the best glue to get it on.
Kids,
just PVA.
For me, I would do Kids White PVA glue, mix watered down.
Yeah,
I would fit, or Mod Podge. I would water down
Mod Podge
Kids
works.
White glue or use Mod Podge, because the thinning will make it not be so big and globby. You can just like dab it on there, then sprinkle it on, and it will dry a lot thinner and soak into some of the moss and kind of make it less Kids PVA gluey. That's like model railroad kind of technique.
That's where hairdryer will work if you want it to
Sick.
stick quick.
Thank you, boys. I knew you would come to my aid.
And for the
Great
foliage,
timing on
The
great
horns
timing
being
on organising the podcast.
the horns being black does look pretty sweet. Though, just saying.
It does look cool, but I want the aesthetic. I want the
You know what I picture? Like the James McAvoy, like
Yeah.
horns from Narnia or whatever.
yes, mate. Yes, I'm not going to be shirtless.
I was gonna say,
there
you're
will be-
going shirtless
Oh,
and
come on. Okay.
There's going to be
alright.
fur on my bottom half, but we're not shirtless on the top.
are you gonna figure out
It's
how to
gonna be
make
cool.
like big hooves over your shoes? Like,
I'm currently trying to, yes,
It's all
figure that
matters,
one
man.
out.
Love it.
Well, keep us
They're probably
updated
just
on
going to
that.
be.
Be
They'll
good.
probably just be cardboard. So yeah, when we record next April for episode 5,
2026. Yes.
I'll let you guys know how that's gone. But yeah, that's me, man. I've been doing a lot of drawing. I've got a lot of illustration projects coming up in the new year, but I'm still trying to keep my hand in this newfound love of crafting as well. So
Have you? So you mentioned because you're into painting miniatures now, and like Warhammer World it has intrigued you more on your second visit. Have you encountered dioramas and stuff since then, and been like, "Fucking, this is shit." Now that I know, like goes into it, and like you spend another 5 minutes on that, it'd look way better. Or anything like that? Have you encountered anything like that?
no,
Because I go to like Christmas things out here, and they're like, "Oh, here's a huge diorama of like Jerusalem or whatever," and I'm like, "Man, these are shit."
We went to a local like a local winter festival thing last night, and they had a gingerbread house contest, and just I couldn't help myself walking around last night being like, "Oh, you use just gelatin sheets for windows, fucking cowards,
Fair
like,
cheaters.
like you didn't want to make your own hard candy and make your own glass windows, fucking cheaters."
Oh man, you know. Yeah.
This is not to scale. This is dumb. I'm like, bear can't climb a ladder. I'm like, fucking, this ladder looks like shit.
It does get you a different perspective. That's for sure. On things out in the world that you thought were
This
amazing, and then you know,
this nativity scene that these 8-year-olds have made. It's fucking shit.
this is fucking shit. No, it wasn't 8-year-olds, but
Who painted the eyeballs on this giant donkey? Like, what is this?
it's like cross-eyed. What the fuck? Anyway. Yeah. So that's it, Chris.
Yes, mate. Yes.
I mean, it's a lot, but that's
This
good.
I like this segment though. If other people have costumes or things like this, or like have projects where they want specific, I mean, for me specifically, if you have a costume, like Madison and I love doing this, like making costumes like on the cheap. Like what's the most affordable, quick way you can get like the biggest bang for your buck? Like what are the highlighted pieces? Dude, if you guys need that, write in. You know how to get
Yes.
a hold of us, and like we could go through this exercise. I like this.
Do they know
This
how to
is
get
fun.
a hold of us?
Mm.
Do I know how to get a hold of us?
Ed, you know nothing, but most people know.
Yeah, I don't know
Where?
shit.
Most people who listen to us at the moment will figure it out. Know how to get a hold of us. If we'll come up with another way for future stuff, but
Ed,
Okay.
you know that other podcast you've been doing for like 6 years.
Yeah.
What's the web address, mate?
Oh, it's like scruffy looking podcasters.com
I swear
or
to God.
something. Yeah, it's something, you know. Anyway, so that's us caught up on our recent crafting things. Now we're gonna bring up the topic that I thought would be a decent topic to talk about because it's something you should know, especially if you're starting out in painting in general, I believe, but definitely miniature painting with those tiny brushes. And that is caring and cleaning and maintaining those brushes and making sure they stay good for the next time you want to paint with them in like 5 weeks.
Yeah, this is good to know because I don't look after shit, mate. So
well, because nothing will drain your bank account and ruin a good time, like needing to buy more brushes, or just like you have that one brush you're like that you've managed to not ruin, and you're like, please just don't let me ruin this one. Because you'll end up with 75 trash brushes. Like these are all my dry brushes because I didn't take care of them.
Or like you loved it the first time you used it, and why isn't it the same the second time?
I've got a lot of
fucking
brushes
awful.
for dry brushing.
Yeah.
I will say, dry brushes, that's a tough one. I don't think I know the proper way to start off on dry brushing. I use cheap ass like makeup brushes
Yeah,
because
same.
when you dry brush,
First of all, I guarantee you those were not cheap. Guarantee that.
no, they're pretty cheap.
Oh, they're not ones that you stole. Like you bought your own
No,
makeup brush.
I bought my own.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
Okay.
But they are pretty bad. They're like pretty cheap, but they work. I've also thrown out half of that pack I got. But anyway, because dry brushing, it does kind of ruin brushes, it seems, in my experience. I maybe I'm not caring for them well enough, but
No, dry
Anyway.
brushing does. It's not good. It's the worst. It's the worst technique you can do with a brush.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you're gonna dry brush, do it with a brush. You're like a thicker brush, wider. I mean, Google it, but
Just use your trash brushes. Don't buy one.
yeah, use
don't buy
trash
'em.
brushes, bigger trash brushes. I did find on big things like your Droid, Chris.
Yes.
Like you have lots of long lines that you need to highlight. I found there's a brush you get with a Mod Podge kit, and it's like a really wide and flat brush. That worked so well because I was dry brushing like these giant crates, Warhammer crates, and it like really highlighted the long lines really well.
Oh, nice.
It looks like this.
See,
But
they-
anyway. So it's like
thing-
wide. It's like an inch wide. It's flat.
Put it away.
And,
Put it away. We didn't put
okay.
that on.
Also, my brush looks like
Inch.
that too.
It's an inch wide and it's flat. We don't want to see it anymore. Come on, heads.
It's wider at the top.
But anyway, let's get back to the meat of the conversation, and that's just the meat. To our actual painting brushes. So there's tiny brushes, ones you like. I kind of categorize mine. I have ones I use for contrast paints, which are a little thicker. I have ones I use for washes, obviously, which are super thick, and then I have the more detailed, tinier ones. The detailed, tinier ones are the ones that we use, and then we come back and we're like, why isn't this the same anymore? Like that first time I used it, it was fucking amazing. And now what's happening? It's like curling. It's like there's this one strand on the end and it's being
Yeah,
weird,
somehow
or-
it's longer now. Like it's like,
Yeah.
wait, where'd these flyaways come from?
and then there's flyaways going on the edges and like, what the fuck is going on? So
And
we're
how does
here
that
to
fly-
tell you.
How does
We're
that
here to tell
flyaway
you we don't
contain
know
so
what
much?
it does.
Yeah, how does that flyaway have so much paint on it too? Because it all of a sudden will touch something, and all of the paint goes to the flyaway and draws a line down the side
yeah.
of something. Yeah,
So I
it's-
said, yeah, that you never intended. Right. Well, we're here to tell you that you don't have to deal with that shit.
That's
So,
a dry brush now, and buy new brushes.
Yes. You save money on dry brushes. No, it's good. Do you want to lead, Shawn, or do you want me to lead on this, or do you like I'll go what I do, or you go what you do, or you want to?
How about, let's do some high level quick tips, and then we can maybe drill into some of that. I'll start with one.
Okay. Yep.
or nerd.
Wait. No, I just want to say one thing. The devil, the absolute bad thing you don't want to happen.
El
is to
Diablo.
paint is for paint to get into where the metal
Ferrule.
is.
The ferrule.
Is that what it's called? I don't know the fucking terms. But the
Into
ferrule of the brush. So
the
if
crack.
paint gets down below where you even see the brushes, the taint of the brush.
The crevice.
the part where the glue is, and
Yes.
the crimp that is holding it all
Yes.
together.
Yes, you don't want paint there. That kills the brush.
You
Because
also
you
don't
can't-
want
You
chemicals
can't get
there.
at it to clean it, and it'll make bristles just go fucking everywhere.
So I'll compound upon this. You don't want anything there, and you really don't want it to sit there. So this goes to my first tip. which is, it seems counterintuitive because, once you feel like you got a groove with a brush and it's like the paint feels right, the brush feels right, and you're like, I'm just going to drag this on until it doesn't feel right anymore. The tip I've learned over time is like, clean that brush sooner than what you want to. Like, I know it's going to mess up that groove, but like, clean your brushes. Like, even if you take two, if you're swapping between two, like, clean it. Do not let it dry up in the ferrule. Do not let it get hard on the thing. That will ruin brushes quicker than anything else. And on that same note, because as it continues to dry further up as it sucks more paint up into the crimp, it will dry there and it's harder to clean. And then you're just then you have to keep cleaning it and mashing it and cleaning it. And you're driving more, like, depending on how you clean your brushes or what, you're bringing more water, more chemicals and things up into that ferrule. You're breaking down the glue. You're messing up where the bristles are kind of staying together. Like, it's better to clean it more frequently, more often, and it will be taken care of better instead of trying to do one big cleaning at the end.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, reestablishing, like, restarting the brush, essentially, is how I feel like. Like you have the palette, you have the colors, the color you want to paint on. It's been properly diluted with a little bit of water for those two thin coat. Know what I'm saying? Anyway, and then you paint, and then the natural urge is to go back from the miniature back to the paint to grab more paint. You know what? Just throw it back in the water, rinse it off, start from scratch, and then grab paint. It's better for the brush.
Okay, let's even ratchet it back even further. Let's go even more basic. Don't leave your brushes in water. Do not leave your brushes in a paint cup where the bristles are being smashed. Don't leave it in water. Like, clean it with whatever you're cleaning, then get it out of the water. And don't and make sure you either lay it down to dry, like on a paper towel or something. Because you want the water and stuff out. You want to let it dry naturally. You don't want to because I know there's a lot of those new products where they're like, oh, you can put your paint brushes in a cup and they sit facing up. It's like, yeah, now you're just letting it dry down into the crimp.
So yes, and this is a tip I give anyone that asks me. Don't store your brushes handle down. However,
unless they're dry, unless they're new.
Also, don't store your brushes bristles resting in the bottom of a cup. So I just sent you guys a picture in Discord. It's a thing I have where you can attach your brushes to, and they dangle in the air down. They dry facing down. Nothing gets into the ferrule. That was called ferrule.
Yeah. Yes.
And
the metal part. Yeah.
Yes. And the brushes last longer because of
that looks like one of those things that they when people get their toenails done. It's the thing that goes between their toes to keep them from touching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what that paintbrush holder looks like.
Yeah. You can send it. It's all on Amazon. But yeah.
Yeah, along with the picture you've sent. Can you send a link, please? Because my brush, none of my brushes are stored correctly. As it would seem.
Oh, I mean, to be clear, I store my brushes they're up.
Yeah,
they're all up, but I make sure they're dry. So when I'm working, I'll lay them like this on the side and make sure they're dry and whatever. Then be done for the day. Then I'll come back a day or whatever later and then put them in my little geeky tiki cups.
3 weeks later, Shawn.
It's whenever I come back into my whatever you want to call this room, the shame pile. But I think for me, those are the biggest pieces of maintaining, because that'll prevent some of the curl and some of the craziness and So another thing, when paint and chemicals get up in the crimp, one of the reasons that's bad is that when it dries, it'll expand, and water gets up there, it'll continue to expand kind of like ice, and that's what will cause your bristles to not be tight anymore, and they'll start to spread, kind of like a dry brush, where they'll just start to spread open. It's what happened to my point? And now it's like a big bushy brush.
Yep.
And that's all the shit up in the ferrule that you can't clean out because you can't get to it.
Yeah, I do want to mention a big level up in my brush maintaining skills. I've been getting a brush cleaner, and mine is called the Masters Brush Cleaner and Preserver, and it's pretty much like a bar of soap in a container. And when you're done painting or switching colors, even I do it when I switch colors, you rinse off the brush in the water, grab a lot of the water, throw it onto the top of this brush cleaner because it's like pretty much a bar of soap. Picture that. And then you just swirl the brush in it. And it cleans off all the paint you were using. And then it also preserves it. So it lubes it up. So I usually swirl it in the soap. I grab some of the soap, the dirty soap. I say dirty soap because it's like all inked up. And then I take it off with a paper towel, and then I put it in the palm of my hand. So if you I don't know how to describe this, but if you put your palm like this,
You cup your hand.
You cup your hand, and the fingers come down at a 90-degree angle. It creates this line right here, and I put the brush right here. There's a crease right here.
That's your love line or your marriage line?
I don't know which line that is actually. Yeah, what is that? It's a lifeline? Something.
No,
Anyway.
that's it. I think got it. There you go.
Anyway, so as you twist the brush, you drag it along that line and twist the brush, and it comes out like new. Like a nice straight brush.
So I have something similar.
Or you can use your mouth.
Wild. I use a brush conditioner. Mine's less soap, and mine's more of when you're done cleaning it, instead of just letting it sit there to dry, it's almost like you roll it on this like little. It's almost like a little wax pad, and then you just kind of twist. It's almost like a little hair, like a hair pomade. Mine is not that big. Mine is like the size of a quarter. Like it's really, really little. And you don't really use it as soap. You just kind of roll it on it, and then you kind of twist the. It kind of keeps the point, and it's like hair brush conditioner, like what it sounds like. And you just leave it on there. I don't really do it between colors. Like I do it for more in between, like if I'm gonna let that brush sit and dry, or if I'm gonna do whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is, and I'm afraid to mix it with my paints. I could look it up, but I'm lazy, and that's my process.
Yeah, I might be running a risk doing it between every color, but I definitely do it between sessions.
But you also use a lot of acrylics, and I use a lot of not acrylics, and so I use a bunch of finicky paints that I look at them funny, and they do stupid stuff. So I'm just I'm just paranoid.
You should be. I mean, if you end up with something shitty, then it's like, what the fuck did I do wrong? And it's just like a chemical reaction, and it's not good. But anyway,
but it looks good. It looks so good.
I have heard, and I want to try it, going isopropyl alcohol between sessions. So you do isopropyl, then water. Isopropyl, rub off the bristle on a paper towel, then water, get the isopropyl out, because isopropyl will dry out your brushes. So you don't want to leave it on like a long time. And good brushes are made out of like hair. You don't want to dry them out. So then you go water, and then you do the cleaner like I have. Swirl it a little bit, twist it. There's YouTube videos on it using a brush cleaner, like swirl it, then go to the side, swirl it, and then, fucking wipe the soap off and go do the palm technique. I just grab it.
Yeah, to be clear, you don't need to go buy 90%, 98% isopropyl alcohol from the local pharmacy. You can get the 60-70% strength and just go real light on it, because that will, like, there's sometimes, like, I'll see these channels where they're using like hardware store grade chemicals to clean things. It's like, what? Like, I clean my brushes with acetone. It's like, I bet those brushes, like, if it's eating the paint off the handle of your brush, it's too strong. Like, we're just washing it. We're just getting the paint out. Like, clean it frequently. Water should do most of the time, but like a little bit of brush cleaner, a little bit of ISO or something, whatever you're using, you do not have to soak it in like lacquer thinner. Like, it will be clean.
Yep. Yeah, because I think as a beginner, a lot of my frustrations was the brush getting fucked. And be like, I gotta buy more brushes. So then I leaned away from nice brushes, and I started buying shit brushes because they're cheaper.
Well, and then that's it's easy to fall in that hole of like, oh, these are just shitty brushes. It's like, no, you just have shitty cleaning technique. Like, It's like, don't go buy Sable brushes when you don't
know how to treat it. Yeah.
Nah, like, plus buy artificial sable because it's cheaper. I don't know if
But
you can
anyway.
import. I don't know if you can import sable into the U.S. anymore. I think it's like a protected.
Really?
Yeah, I think like the
This is like
whatever.
it hurts animals or something.
I think it's some. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend to know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
However,
Chris, do you have any thoughts on brushes?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything more. I think that's what I do.
I'm just taking it all in, man, because I just rinse my shit under the water, under the tap, fucking dry it with a paper towel, stick it on the side, and store it incorrectly.
Yeah. How are
So-
the bristles? They annoying you?
Bristly, yeah. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy painting those miniatures.
And
really-
because stuff is so tiny, you gotta have the perfect like tip.
Yeah,
It only gets into be problems when you get into like the zeros, the 3-0, the 2-0, 1-0s. Like that's where it gets
Yeah.
really stupid.
Yes.
But like, or you get
That's
into like
brush
the liners.
sizes for those that don't know.
I do
Yeah,
struggle as well with knowing the correct amount of paint to put on the actual brush.
Here's a brush I didn't clean properly.
Yeah, that looks awful. I've had a drink or two and been painting, and then I wake up the next morning, I come down and I see a brush, and it's like fuck because I didn't take care of it before I went to bed, and I'm like, fucking hell.
And if you ever feel like you're not good at cleaning your brushes, buy an airbrush, and that will train you really quickly to how frequently you should be cleaning something.
Fucking yes, I learned that fast. I've done because it'll splatter, and you're just like, what the fuck's happening? Oh, I didn't clean it well enough. Like between the last color and this color or whatever.
Or it's all sealed shut because it's drying on the inside and you can't disassemble it anymore. And so you have to like soak it in lacquer thinner.
Dude,
And
I store all the metal parts of mine in like alcohol.
oh my God.
And I have a magic eraser. Right before I use it, I use the magic eraser sponges.
Oh, I know what
Use
magic
that.
eraser. What do you use that on? I'm curious.
The
needle
needle.
or
Yeah.
just don't use it on the airbrush. Like those are so
Oh
abrasive.
no. No, I use it on the needle to keep it nice. There's nothing on the airbrush I'd use it on. The airbrush is just like a pray and hope it doesn't clog up a lot. But I do store that. And I got brushes to like go in and out of it. So
What else? What other tips are there?
I'm still new at airbrushing, so
for the others, I think there's some other stuff for like paintbrushes. Like we keep talking about dry brushing. Like there's nothing that will destroy a paintbrush more than dry brushing. Like because a lot of the techniques you're using for dry brushes, especially when you watch videos and stuff with people who have a million paintbrushes, so they don't care. Like it is the technique itself is like the exact opposite of how you treat a paintbrush. Like you are mashing it into things and is really forcing that
vigorous.
paint up. Like you're forcing paint up into the ferrule, the crimp part, and it's hopeless. Like
you're already doing it, friggin' rubbing it on a paper towel to begin with. So like for those that don't know, you take a glob of paint on the brush, you rub it a lot on a paper towel to like take out the excess. So you got like some not minimal, but like more than minimal amount on the brush, and then you just freaking start I don't even say lightly. It's more than lightly sometimes, but
it depends.
brushing over the model.
Test it on something.
Oh yeah.
Have a junk piece. Like find yourself a junk toy or a junk thing that you can just endlessly test on. That's a separate tip. I have like an old Star Wars Micro Machines ST that it's got like 700 layers of paint on it, and I endlessly use it for testing things. And I'm like, I'll just like okay, is my dry brush is it thin enough? Because the whole point of dry brushing is you don't want the paint to flow. You want it to just.
We can see on a post. We can take a picture of that, or they're keeping that
My
secret?
ATST, it's buried in one of these drawers over here, buried behind all my shame piles. But I
love
will
to see that.
I will get it out. I also have one of those like stormtrooper helmets, those vinyl helmets. It's like just layered in airbrush paint. But yeah, you want to barely, because you won't want to because sometimes you do have to smash it, but you need to test it, because if you smash it on there, next thing you know, you've got a giant smashed dry brush piece. Yeah, dry brushing is fun. I love it, but
Yeah, it's it is wicked, but it's hard to gauge it. You definitely need to test it on shit. Because I've done that before when it's like, yeah, this dry brushing looks rad. I'm gonna give this a go. I've got far too much on the brush, and it just makes a mess.
Yeah, you gotta swirl it on a paper towel first. Like that's huge.
I use a bit of card, and just like get
that
it,
works.
Yeah,
so
I
there's almost
like
nothing coming off the brush.
almost like a piece of I don't know what everybody calls it. I learned to call it chipboard years ago, but I don't know what. I think it's just like almost like it's not cardboard, but it's like whatever this like thick brown paper.
What's that called? I forgot.
Like I call it chipboard. I think that's really really good at it because it also shows you like how like
If
wet
you fucked
it
up,
is.
this is what it would look like.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like because it's porous, and so like a paper towel is going to soak it up. But like something like that, like you'll see like how wet it is with the dry brush. So you hit it, and it's like if it pools and spreads, like whoa, I think I need to dry this a bit more because you can buy specialized dry brush paint where it's like it's paint that sat out too long, like, or you can make your own where it's just regular paint, but then you just got to keep smashing it into the paper towel. But testing on different things is always helpful.
I've got some Citadel dry brush paint. It's
I think that's a gimmick. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It basically just looks like paint that's old.
It's like tofu.
Yeah.
It's like tofu
Yeah.
paint.
I fell for that with some of their technical paints. Like I have the Riser. Oh, this is a dry one. Riser Rust. That it just looks like spongy paint when you open it. You know what I mean? Like it's like thick.
Yep.
And then I have Skink Blue, which I don't think I've ever used. It's funny, but anyway.
What do you mean you own a paint that you've never used?
Who does that?
All crafters use all their tools.
That's right. I will say I do love contrast medium. I use that a lot to turn paints into contrastiness or make a too dark contrast paint more like lighter contrast.
Does it ever bug you that they won't use standard terms for things? It's like you're talking about a contrast medium. It's like you're talking about a thinning medium.
Yes.
Like that's what that is. It's like why can't they just call it?
But for
it is.
speed paints. That kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
It's an acrylic medium that will dilute the paint, but allowing the pigment to continue to disperse evenly,
Yes.
so it can cool properly.
More than what they call Lamian medium, which is made to turn a regular paint more into a wash.
Yeah, that's where it like really disperses it. And
Which just use fucking water. But anyway.
for Jesus Christ, for acrylic paints, do not use water for anything that's not acrylic.
Yes. I if I'm talking, it's generally acrylic. Just so everybody knows.
Unless you want to have a really bad time. Anyways,
So that's all I have on cleaning, I think. Trying to think. I'm looking at my workspace here to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hang them upside down. Change your water out. I am bad at changing my water out. I just sent you guys a picture. It's like dark. And
for sure. I love to
change it up.
use small shot glasses. Like I won't have a big cup of water because I think that just encourages me to just like have this big grody cup of water for too long. I will use I have like a ton of these like little glass shot glasses that I use for everything. But then like I'll fill this with like water or cleaner. And then so that you can also like rub it on the sides or get down there and swish it around. And then it's like, oh, it gets too dirty. You just go dump it in a bigger pot and fill it back up again. And like it's easier to kind of keep swapping it.
Yes.
Instead of like a big kitchen cup.
That is a amazing idea. That would fit my ADHD brain a lot and lazy brain as well. Like that.
It gives you something to do with or another thing you could do is old pharmacy bottles.
Oh,
those are endlessly
the vials.
amazing in crafting, like the little orange ones.
Mhm.
I use those all the time.
Good for building robots.
Oh shit. Crafting. Anything else? Any questions? Anything you wanna any other topic? Nope.
You can also use You can also you can also use ripped up sponges for dry brushing too, like you're talking about, Ed.
Yes, I have done that. It's surprisingly effective. It's almost like, what the fuck have I been doing? Why don't I just use these like cheap ass sponges?
Like a sponge brush.
Like sometimes you get something from Amazon or whatever you ordered, and it comes with like a bunch of like spongy shit in it to like package it, like, and like all of it, like you could just tear pieces off of it and just use it to dry brush. It's
good for chipping. It's good for dry brushing.
Yeah.
Which are
use
basically
that
the
on
same.
those horns, man. Use that on those horns. Easy. Then
It's
throw
my
it out
yes,
after
my
because
yes.
it's fucking cheap.
Do that at the very end. If you've done all your washes, do like a little bit of like speckling on it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
go
Yeah, you could
lighter
do
because it's hard to,
speckling. That's the
it's hard
other
to
thing
predict
with
where
it.
the sponge is gonna hit. But test
Yeah.
that too.
Use them as a dry brush, like brush on, and then speckle with another side of the sponge. Tear
So
torn
I'm gonna-
sponge.
I'm gonna go at these tomorrow. I'm gonna blast them tomorrow, and because I'm running out of time, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be outside cleaning away more wood and more leaves. So I might as well do some spray paint, spray
I will
these
say-
while I'm out there. And
Because if you're gonna be doing all the
Get 'em going.
washes, have
Yes.
a hair dryer. That'll speed things up.
yes, yes.
Otherwise,
I've got
you're
a
waiting
heat-
hours.
Yeah, I've got a heat gun on my wish list that I want to pull the trigger on, but I haven't pulled the trigger on yet. Nice. 'Cause it's good. It's good for melting things as well, bending plastic. Anyway, that's another subject.
Since we're talking about supplies, another heat guns are
Yeah.
great. This is so silly. Like I discovered a couple years ago that they sell hot glue guns that don't like plug into the wall, but they use like
Yeah?
a regular like power drill battery. Like I hook my like DeWalt batteries onto them, and so it's a
No.
cordless glue gun.
Oh,
Dude, game
Shut the fuck up.
game changer. You just set
Chris
on your
is
desk.
like writing shit down. He's like, okay, I gotta buy that.
You can get them on like Amazon for like $8, and it's just a regular. You just put glue gun things in and just hook your drill battery up to it. Let's go.
I'll have that.
I love that. I've got Prime. That'll get here before Christmas. Let's go.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode. I forgot what number
4.
it is. Episode
Still
4.
still number 4.
You know,
Where can people find us at?
yeah, on a website. Shawn, what is it?
We don't have a website yet. You can find this podcast through 2 feeds. You can find on the Just
Oh,
Chillin'
true.
feed or the
That's
scruffy looking podcasters feed.
Mhm.
And
Will it be on there, Ed? Will it be on the Scruffy Lucky Podcasters feed?
Yes, at some point.
With the other 3 episodes?
It
or not?
always inevitably. The 3 episodes are on there. Yeah.
Oh, are they?
They might.
Oh.
Yeah. They might have
think once-
been.
you
deployed-
posted them.
Yeah.
That's all.
The first 2 were like a month after we.
But so you rapid fired them out there real quick. It's like here's
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
2, and 3. It's like, mate, it looks like we were like really on it.
Yeah.
Like we just
Yeah.
recorded a bunch all at once and just released them, even though they were months apart.
Unless you're looking at the Just Chillin' feed, and you're like, no, these have been out forever. But anyway.
Once
Yes.
we get another episode or 2 together, maybe I'll put together a dedicated spot for us to maybe put our
Sweet.
own feed up instead of listening to it through all these others.
Yes.
But
That'd be good.
we'll get some consistency going first.
Well, let's see if we get good feedback on it, and we'll keep moving forward
Yeah.
with it.
Looking forward to talking Easter crafting on episode 5.
It does seem to be around the holidays. So what's the next one?
2026.
Maybe, hey, Ed, we'll meet back up again for St. Patrick's Day, and you can show us your progress on your 4-leaf clover.
Maybe I painted another 4-leaf or 3-leaf clover or whatever.
Or maybe you painted a rancor.
Maybe. Keep that at a maybe. In fear. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.